Athabasca constituency by-election Hunzila. Saskatchewan party had Jim Lemaigre bezinint. Jim nutsege ya Clearwater River Dene Nation in Den Helio. Tori a ten nanzan alai no den anatsi dene hinle. Saskatchewan party strong voice for the North. Nohayatie dut aruch ide government base. Saskatchewan party ba vote out ni Jim Lemaigre February 15th. Good afternoon, salot in a edlarot. Kululad zinohant an edlila te kulet e al haldun zinige herelya. And Saturday afternoon doon of Nohal Saskatchewan party candidate Nohal Huntatha Dahayanse. So let's tell it for a little while. I question no what's in it. Throw it in the comments, say hi, say what's up, it's always good to hear from all the Dene listeners everywhere. Eat us zibadano nila de si willis janvier hushe in Telas tours in Laloche, Saskatchewan. Clearwater River Dene Nation band member the Hesliu and Dunzinege Treaty 4 territory. No, I don't tati danadlila. So this afternoon, I've got a guest here is going to join us, Saskatchewan Party candidate Jim Lemaigre. The by-election was called here a couple weeks ago, and we're going to hear from Jim and how his campaign has been going and the platform the Saskatchewan Party is running on, and we'll get right into it. Doon Zinege. Don Herman, hello. Nathan Koenig, I'm not sure that's blank, but don't be shy to throw out. This episode is geared to people in the Athabasca constituency. It is very important to vote and also to educate on each party's platform that they run on. And you got to make a decision on that. So everybody, don't be shy, don't be afraid to ask questions. That's what the elected officials are there for. They're gonna speak for on behalf of the people in the far north, starting from Green Lake North, I believe, and that we'll have to talk about the borders that govern each area. But anyways, we will bring him in and we'll get right into this. Masi cho dun no alhun tadulti ha. Ho. Good afternoon, Jim. How are you doing?
I'm good, thank you. Merci, santila nezon. Say
Nezun,
ali
nezun.
hal herlia.
Yeah, they see. Is it windy over there? Are you at home in Prince Albert, or where are you now?
I'm in Clearwater at my mom's.
Ah, good stuff. Good stuff.
Yeah.
Well, I'll get you to introduce yourself here. I want to thank you for joining me here this afternoon, and we'll get this going. Must see.
Okay, thank you. My name is Jim Lemaigre, member of Clearwater River Dene Nation, and married with 2 kids and 2 grandkids. I work for the provincial government. Before that, I was a police officer with the RCMP for 14 years and did a lot of my service in northern Saskatchewan. And I have approximately 25 years of public service, and most of it has been dedicated to northern Saskatchewan. I did mental health, suicide prevention, RCMP officer, and then later on a program manager with the policing agreements for the First Nations. It's a CTA, they call it, Community Tripartite Agreement. And then with New North framework agreement with the Métis communities on the northwest or northern part of Saskatchewan, and we provided services to the communities under their policing agreement, bridging gaps between the community policing, and I represented Saskatchewan in that agreement.
Nezun, good stuff. Good stuff. So, it's been a couple weeks since the by-election has been called now, 2 or 3 weeks. But, how's the campaign trail have been going? And, tell us a bit about where you've been traveling and what
Yeah,
the
absolutely. Yeah. I attended majority of the communities. I went to Turner Lake, Dillon, Michelle, St. George's, Buffalo Narrows, Beauval, Alacrosse, Canoe Narrows, uh, Pachunac, English River, Beauval, Dory Lake. Met with the mayor from Sled Lake and Dory Lake, and Green Lake. Uh, and then one of the reasons why we decided to do the podcast was because we couldn't get into the far north. Uh, we made arrangements twice, and the first one, we made a plan for me to arrive on Friday and then leave on Monday. We found some good local people to drive me to Uranium City and engage in the community, and then drive me over to um, Stony Rapids, and then spend time in Stony Rapids and Black Lake. But that trip fell through because of the weather, and then we rebooked, and the second time, same thing. With the warm weather, fog in Stony Rapids, the plane couldn't land, and we've seen all the snow we've had recently, so it just didn't work out for me to get up there. Uh, but when we talk about the far north communities, as a police officer, I've lived in Stony Rapids, or worked in Stony Rapids, but lived in Black Lake. And with my policing career, and later on as a program manager, like I've done work in Fond du Lac, I've been to Uranium City, Stony Rapids, Black Lake, even Wollaston, to do some work. So I'm very familiar with the far north. And I just recently reconnected with people in the north, and had some good conversations. There's one good elder there that was really good friends with my dad. And when I moved there, my dad called him and said, you look after my son. And I just called him a couple days ago, and he said, you know what, I'm still looking out for you. And so that was nice to hear. And between elders and community members that are concerned, I've had really good conversations on the phone, and because I've lived there, I've had that connection with them. So it's been good for the far north.
is doing good stuff, and now you're looking to look after, the far north. That's a lot to go after. And what are some of the things you've heard in your travels from the people of the Athabasca constituency? Some issues or concerns that some of the people have brought up, and how you will address these issues and
Yeah.
concerns.
And some of the issues are common, as I visit to communities and speak with leaders. The road conditions of 155 comes up. How we look after our elders, long-term care has been part of the discussion. Mental health and addictions has also been part of the discussion, and also economic opportunities. Communities are wanting to partner up and uh, have a common successful opportunity to address economic opportunities in the north by partnering up. So I've that's the kind of stuff I heard, and some are specific to the areas. Like when I had conversations far north, they talked about a high cost of living, and also to have economic opportunities in the north, and how we can build working relationships between provincial, federal government, and how we could better service the communities up in the north. So it's been really good discussions, and people are understanding what this election, the by-election, means for Northwest Saskatchewan. And I think we are, because people are understanding, we're having really good conversations of where our future is going to go in Northwest Saskatchewan.
Good stuff. Good stuff. And it really point out it's very important. It's the North has been governed by the NDP for many years now, and how important would it be for the North to win that and be represented in Saskatchewan politics? When you talk about the far North and what it the challenges they face, the high cost of living, that's something that's, even to travel out of the north, that's a 16-hour haul on a road, and then the prices of gas, all that stuff. How important is that to have that representation in government in what might come in the future for you know possibly the prices going down or being accommodated
Yeah.
somehow?
Yesterday, we spent the day with the premier. He drove up to Alacross first, and then we drove into Buffalo Narrows and had arranged meetings with leaders, community business uh, owners, and leaders that had concerns about, and they had the ear of the premier, and we heard ranges of concerns from them, and specifically to how we can improve. He was also accompanied by another MLA from North Balford, and that MLA explained how the government structure is, and as an MLA, what the access he has to the ministers, to the premier, because he's part of the Saskatchewan Party. And then he took that opportunity to explain to the people, because that is what we're looking for in northern Saskatchewan, northwest Saskatchewan right now in this by-election, is so we can have a seat at the table. So all these concerns that have been brought to my attention, and it ranges from road conditions, how people are being assisted on social assistance, and health care. And if you're sitting at the table with government, you have access to the premier, you have access to the ministers, other MLAs, where you're part of the discussion and you're part of the plan of moving ahead and how we can support each other. And that's the opportunity that we have here. And people are understanding that, because recently on MBC, and I've spoken to this almost every meeting that I go to, there was an elder that talked, and he said, just in general terms, describing the structure of how we've been represented in this area, he said, we've been on the outside for so long looking in. Like, why, with this opportunity, why would we put ourselves in that situation again? And that is what people are talking about. And people are talking about this chance that we have. So the needs that people have been expressed, uh, we can sit at the table and be part of the discussion as we move forward.
Nezun, good stuff. And there is and having that Dene Sutlina representation at a table filled with Totine all around, and bringing two worlds, two perspectives to the table, to government, to better represent the people in the far north. Because when you just speak of the far north, it's all Dene Sutlina communities, and that is a big thing. How does the Saskatchewan party, we face a lot of stuff dealing with, whether it's mental health or finding cultural identity, and how is the far north going to be supported in mental health, especially important, and also that cultural aspect.
And when whatever employment that I have, whether it's the RCMP or working for the province, when I'm sitting at the table, I always advocate for what it means for us, First Nations or Métis, the communities we come from, because not everybody understands our North, and not everybody understands what we've gone through. So when I was with the RCMP, having coffee with the guys, or with the members, we have a discussion about what it means treaty, what it means to be Métis, and what we've gone through. And I've taken that opportunity to so people have an understanding, because where we're headed, how we're going to work together, people want to understand each other. And so I've always taken that opportunity, even right now with my government job, when we're having our meetings in Regina. I'm the one who's speaking up about the North, what we go through, where we've been, and use that opportunity to educate. Because, like you said, two different worlds, sometimes we need that voice so we could understand each other. And I've always taken that opportunity, and I think that's important because when we talk about our culture, we talk about our language, some of these services have to consider that. Mental health, addictions. Saskatchewan Party has a good track record of investing into mental health and addictions. And part of these discussions these past 2 days was how can we support the North in that? And the Premier heard from the people. And that would be my responsibility to ensure what people are saying are followed through within government, because there is a wide range of avenues that that government is responsible for. So that's the kind of stuff that I would take forward. So we're not uh, that our voice is there, and we continue to build on the good investments that we've had already.
Yeah, good stuff, good stuff. And I just want to talk about, just say real quick, using the elders' words, that why sit on the sideline still, and that I believe is a good message. And we've got a question here, and this is where I wanted to direct this conversation here. What is your views on the latest news of release of road opening towards the Alberta Fort McMurray? What would that do with the business hub of the north if they are using services from Alberta? That's a very good question. And the mines are opening up. I believe Cameco is firing up.
Yeah,
What does that mean for the far north? That's just
yeah,
another road that leads into another
yeah.
province with more opportunities.
The communities that I've sat with, and with the Garson Lake Road uh, announcement, people in other communities uh, are excited about that news because of the distance they have to travel to get to work in Fort McMurray. And the discussion has always been there with Alberta, so that side of the road could be completed. But with Saskatchewan Party's commitment to complete it, people are excited because they said, we need people from Alacross, people from Dillon, Beauval, all use that road to get to Alberta in the wintertime. So if we're pushing towards an all-season road, I think the benefits are there. With the exploration and opportunities like that, we know what's happening north of La Loche, and we know a lot of people from the northern Saskatchewan are employed in Alberta. So to get to work, to earn that good paying paychecks to provide for your family, I think that's beneficial.
Good stuff. Good stuff. We've got another question here. So, if you're elected in your riding, will you make it a priority? That this road does come in, and then there's also, we cannot forget the far north too. They, I believe, there's working on the all season road. They've got an all season road to
To
Fond
Stony
du Lac,
Rapids.
Stony
Yeah.
Rapids, and I
And then
believe
to
it's going
Fond
to
du
be.
Lac is the winter road.
I believe
Yeah.
they're going to be doing some work on it. I think it was announced recently that it was going to be wider or something, I believe, and both of them, two two different areas, but a lot of opportunity to be there. And how
Yeah.
do you make sure both of that happens?
I think listening and then sitting with the government at the table, and actually advocating for the people. So, uh, the Minister of Highways and the Premier and the MLAs can hear how this is beneficial to us, and to sit at the table as we're planning this and moving ahead. I think that's where we see results, and most definitely, I see the benefits of us having that in the north. So absolutely, I'll support that and push it forward for the people.
Nezun, Nezun, good stuff, good stuff. So if you're just tuning in here, everybody, we've got Saskatchewan Party Canada Jim Lemaigre here is with us here this afternoon. If you got any questions about the upcoming election, and don't be shy to throw it in the comments. That's what we are here to do, to answer any concerns or questions. And you know, what are in the travels? You've had to. I know you've had to pretty much focus in the far, the west there because your plane was delayed, and it. You've lived in both areas. What do you see the similarities or in social living and economically and all that stuff?
I think the cost of living in the north, uh, in the far north of fly-in communities, I think that is a huge concern for people up there, and uh, and even getting supplies up there, uh, and that's one of the reasons why things are expensive, and the utilities. Uh, I talked to an elderly couple, and they talked about the high power bill, and but I also listened to other communities like a Pine House, for example, who's designed an energy efficient home, and they said the way they heat that tiny home, on average, they're looking at $35 a month for power. So there's innovative ways that the communities are trying. And the one thing that I've heard from every community, every leadership, and Northwest Saskatchewan is, how can we work together? How can we partner up? And I've listened to elders and leaders offering their advice on what that would look like. Some suggested an advisory uh, committee that would become the guidance of Northwest Saskatchewan, because our geographic area, uh, and how big of an area that we cover. And I understand that, I'm one person for all of it. So the importance of working together and building that partnership becomes really critical. So it's important that we have good working relationship with the community leaders, because they're the ones that are elected locally, and they're the ones that understand the most what it means to work with government. And that seems to be echoed across my visits, is the leaders are the ones that understand what this means, and they see the opportunity for partnership, and I think that's what we push forward, and that's what we not everything is perfect, but we have an opportunity here as we move forward, uh, to look at things a little bit different from what we've known, and the opportunity that you know people have, so we could change how we interact with government. And we know Saskatchewan Party is our government. Of the 61 seats right now, they have 47 seats. That means that's why they formed the government. And here we have an opportunity in Northwest Saskatchewan to be a part of that discussion and move ourselves forward.
Yeah, good stuff. It's all about moving forward. I believe they've been represented by NDP for about 26 years, and 47 seats, and to be represented in the north, that's a good thing. What is the difference between Jim Lemaigre and all the other candidates that are, I think, believe there's two. There's independent Darwin Roy and Georgina Jalaba NDP.
And
Why
I
Jim
think
Lemaigre?
I have a understanding of our lives in the north. I've been a frontline service provider for years. I understand what that entails. Uh, I've experienced the high cost of living. I've driven the roads. When I was a police officer, we broke down on a road because of the road conditions. So I understand what people are talking about, and but I also listen, and I listen to the people, and I listen of what they're asking, and I'm about commitment. Whatever work that I do, when I joined the RCMP and I was asked to go to Stony Rapids, I said yes because I committed to serving my country as a police officer. And so I've done that. I've lived in Dillon, I've lived in Buffalo Narrows. And then part of when I was working for a program manager for the government, my commitment was to serve the Saskatchewan, the province of Saskatchewan, with their First Nation agreements. And I visited the majority of the First Nations that have those agreements. And the far north communities, with that policing agreement, I've gone into Stony Rapids, I've gone into Fond du Lac, and every community on the northwest, Beauval, um, Alacrosse, and Buffalo, and Dillon, uh, as a program manager, and I've sat with people and listened to the concerns, and some of it I've heard again, and people, I've always treated people with respect, and that's what I got back when I visited, and I think that speaks volume. It was a community leader in the north that asked me to represent them, and I think that speaks volume of my character, and I don't take that lightly, uh, and that's what uh, and that's how I came to be here today, was the support of the people and the people that believed in me, and I don't ever take that for granted. And so that's the voice that we're talking about. That is where, when we're sitting at the table, I understand that, and that's what I bring to the table, is that understanding of the people. So when we move forward and we're planning, Northwest Saskatchewan is part of that discussion.
Good stuff. Good stuff. You are a good man, Jim Lemaigre, and to address the. It is a lot to take all this stuff, and there was a debate that happened recently, and all the people you get to meet. It is a lot of work, to meet new people, and it can be tiring, and but you've handled yourself very well, Nezu. Good job.
Thank you.
And the election day is February 15th. And where do people go? I believe the advance polls are now open.
Advanced polls open up on Wednesday and they close tomorrow, the 13th, and it's from noon till 8. If you go to the Saskatchewan election website, they're listed on there. And then the 15th is the election day, and the polls open from 8 to 8 in the evening. And the again, if you go to the Saskatchewan election website, they'll give you the locations and where in the communities you can go to vote.
Nezu, good stuff. So get out and vote, and just once again, to the people in the far north, they probably feel a little left out because of the weather that you had to, reschedule, and just how important, will you is it important to vote, not only vote, but to keep that relationship going throughout, if elected throughout the 2 or 3 years that are remaining. How often will you visit the people up there?
Well, I already been invited to come up, and I've got lots of friends and people that have supported me when I was posted up north, and formed lots of friendship. And both my parents are well known in northern Saskatchewan, and I remember on one of my calls when I got there, somebody recognized me and says, "Oh, you're George Lebaig's son." That's the relationship that I have in the north, and my parents are well respected, and I don't plan on tarnishing that, and so I keep that up. I keep that communication up, and I will go to the far north and visit as I'm invited to come, and that I think is where we build that partnership, is to actually be there with the people and listen. And some languages and discussions will be good, some won't be, but my commitment is that I will be there to listen to you and move and take your concerns forward. So, and have them addressed properly.
Nezun, good stuff. Nenzen no aundala. And you also bring that to the table as well. No te denedint ahu kujandun zineke Dene Yati podcast. Dene al inkole dunt I tot ina asla because to reach there's other not only Denny speaking, I know the audience that's where we got to reach, but there's also other people to reach
Yeah.
as well. So and
Ayos are noia tie denehotidist ahu and that see I don't it that is see Holland with denedist kont u deni yatik asked you kont u hat a sator asinia and who te den panage ani new that I no yet here deni esrit ade but deni papa hore new then sets it like Eleni then. You can understand say it here then highest he had is about illa.
must see Cho for that. If there is anything else that you want to add here today, Jim, I will leave it up to you and Belaulia.
Yeah, well, thank you for this opportunity. I have a Facebook page, Jim Lemaigre, Athabasca, Saskatchewan Party candidate, and you'll see where I've been and the people that have supported me. You will see that, and but I want to say to the people that are listening, we talk about opportunities and we talk about change, the chance that we have here, and what that means is your voice within government, and here's your opportunity. People sometimes have issues with decisions being made, and but if we're going to address it and your voice being brought forward, here's an opportunity for you to have a say. But we can't do it unless you come out and vote, and we can't do it unless you come out and vote and support Saskatchewan Party, and if we can't do it unless you support Jim Lemaigre's Saskatchewan Party. So February 15th, come out and vote and ensure that your voice is heard within government. Thank you.
Masicho, Masicho, once again, thank you for joining, and the people I appreciate you doing this, and good luck on the election. Make sure everybody you get out and vote February 15. Jim Lemaigre, Masicho.
Okay, thank you very much.
Alrighty, salot ina edlarot. It's been good to be talking to Jim Lemaigre, the Saskatchewan Party candidate for the Athabasca constituency. A lot of important stuff that was talked about today: industry, mental health, the well-being of the people in the far north. Dennis Ushline Nadana Kosino de. But he said, the weather it canceled out. So I just want to, don't feel left out, and it is very important to vote. Get out and vote. We talked about people Highway 155. I just traveled it last week. I understand they've traveled it as well. And all the other parties, I'm sure, have traveled it. But 47 seats is a good number for that road to be finished. And with that, I just want to say thank you for joining us here this afternoon. Selotine, I will be in Turner Lake this week. So come out and say hi. And we will see you all next week. Masi Chona Herusion. And this podcast episode on Dene Yati is authorized by the business manager to elect Jim Lemaigre. So Masi Cho. And Dunzinege te no basuga walil si Willis Janvier Hushe Ninte last tours in La Loche, Saskatchewan. Clearwater River Dene Nation band member Hesliu and Dun Zinega Treaty 4 territories in Walhun Tathi Dasa. Masicho no Baral Yaule